One of the main reasons that we want to learn how to use Photoshop is so we can create our own graphics. For instance, this text effect I could not achieve inside of PowerPoint, although PowerPoint can do quite a bit. I'd like you to have the ability to put effects on photos and create graphics like this. Alright, well, I'm going to show you how to do this stroke effect in Photoshop and then bring it into PowerPoint. Alright, let me start over here. I'm going to go to File, New, because I just want to create a piece of text. I'm going to go to the preset and choose Default Photoshop Size. So it's 7 by 5 inches. The size of the document doesn't really matter right now. Control 0 to fill up the screen here. In the toolbar, I'm going to press T for text. Once I click inside, I'll get a flashing cursor indicating that it's ready to type. Now I can change the text orientation. Right here I could have the text type vertically or horizontally. Here's where you choose your typeface or font. I picked a Cooper font for this example. Font style, I'm just going to leave. Here's the size. Right now I've got it at 103. You could drop down that arrow, pick your size, or what I like to do is I put my mouse over the two T's there, and if I drag over, press and hold my mouse and drag over that, it'll change the size. I like using that. I'll put it at 98. Strong, I have it here, so it affects the way it looks here. Let's leave it on strong. Here's alignment, center alignment, left alignment. I'll just leave it at left. Color, I've chosen red. Text warp, so you can warp your text. We'll try that in a second. And here you can do even more advanced things with your text. We're not going to go over all of these. Some of these we'll just have to experiment with. But one for sure that I want you to be aware of is called tracking, which is right here. And I'll show you how that works. All right. So I'm going to come up with a graphic to help me construct my logo for my fictitious photography studio. So I need the word studio. Notice how close the letters are together. That's because I've already played with my tracking. That's in this box right here. And so if I hover my mouse right over the VA there, I can squish my letters together or I can spread them apart. And that is something you cannot do as easily in PowerPoint, although you can do it a little bit in PowerPoint. Okay, I'm going to get it right about, just so they're kind of touching. All right. I can increase my size. I can put a warp on if I want. If I open up this, excuse me, I could arc it, change the arc, do a wave of some sort. We'll cancel for now. All right, so those are some things right there to try. I'll commit to the size right now. I'll use my move tool just to center it. Okay, what I want to do though is show you how to use the stroke effect. A couple ways to get there. You could double click on the layer and choose stroke, or you could go down here where it says FX, you can choose stroke. All right, and immediately wants to start stroking those letters. So if the stroke options don't appear, just double click on the word stroke and it will appear. This affects the size of the stroke. Outside is what you want here instead of inside. Here's what inside looks like. Not as good unless you're going for that effect. Blend mode, I don't think there will be anything that the blend modes will do to it, but you can try that. Opacity, you can change the color. You can change this to a gradient as well. There's all kinds of things you can do here. Maybe you'd like a different color than you first thought. I like that. What's nice is you can change some of the other styles at the same time. So like if I want to change the inside color, I could click on color overlay, and I could choose a blue instead, which I think I like better. All right. And I'll click OK. So that's how you do a stroke effect. Now, how do you get it into PowerPoint? Well, I'd like to encourage you not to grab the white here, but just grab the letters and keep everything else in Photoshop, but just put the letters inside of PowerPoint. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer. So Control-Shift-N, or hit the new layer button here and put that underneath. And I'm going to turn that background layer off. Now you see that this is just a transparent layer. And so I'm going to merge the text layer onto this transparent layer just by going up to Layer, excuse me, and merge down. So that if I select it now, it won't be selecting any of the white. It'll just be selecting the transparency. And I'm going to make this a smaller document. I don't want to change the size of my letters, but I don't want to grab all this other space. So I'm going to use the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to select around the word Studio. I'm going to Edit Copy, or Control-C. And here's something you might not be used to. I'm going to go up to File, New. And what happens is, when I go File, New, since I did a copy, it's going to take the dimensions, just the dimensions that I've selected, to create the new document size. So when I click OK, this is a very small document. I go Control-0. Now if I go Edit Paste or Control-V, it just fills up that space. I'm going to turn off this background layer that showed up. All right, and I'm going to save this as a PNG, not as a JPEG this time. So don't save it as a Photoshop either. So go down here and choose PNG. The reason I'm doing that is the PNG will save the transparency. Otherwise, the file will be filled up with a white background. So I'm going to call this Studio. I'm going to keep that .png there. So I'm going to put the Studio 2 and click Save. And click OK. Now when I go to PowerPoint, I'll create a new slide. And if the layout isn't just a blank slide, go up to Layout and choose Blank. I prefer that. You can use these other layouts, but a blank canvas is an open canvas, so you have the most flexibility. And then I'm going to go Insert, Picture. I'm going to choose my Studio 2, Insert, and I can change the size of that to however I want. I can still make changes in PowerPoint with this. I could add a shadow effect. I could do some other effects here. I could also, add some color effects. So there's things you can do inside of PowerPoint too with these things. All right, now the reason I wanted you to save it as a PNG is if you didn't, that white around the image would stay. But now if I click on my right-click on the background of my PowerPoint slide and choose Format Background, and maybe I want to put a gradient background, notice that it's going to do a nice job of putting that gradient around my graphic, and my graphic stands on its own, and I can change the size, and I'm not have to worry about any of that white coming with it. So give that stroke effect a try and practice saving these things as PNGs.